At 06:15 on the morning of November 7th, 1942, Corporal Thomas Lyons pressed his face into the mud of Guadalcanal's jungle floor, listening to his squad leader die 15 feet away. 23 years old. For months in the Pacific. 12 men in his platoon already dead from sniper fire. Zero idea where the shots were coming from. The Japanese had killed 73 Marines on Guadalcanal in the past 2 weeks. Not in bonsai charges. Not in artillery barrages. Single shots from invisible positions. The pattern was always the same. Marines advance through jungle. Single crack of an Arisaka rifle. Marine drops dead. Jungle goes silent. No movement. No muzzle flash. No follow-up shots. The sniper had vanished. Except the sniper hadn't vanished. Lyons knew that now. He'd figured it out in the 12 seconds between the shot that killed Staff Sergeant Robert Chun and the moment Lyons stopped breathing hard enough for the Japanese rifleman to hear him. The sniper was still there. Right where he'd been when he fired. Right where he'd be for the next 30 minutes. Because Japanese snipers didn't retreat after shooting. They couldn't retreat. They'd tied themselves into their positions. If you want to see how this discovery changed jungle warfare in the Pacific and saved thousands of Marine lives, hit that like button. It helps us share these untold tactical innovations from the war. Subscribe if you haven't already. Back to Lyons. He lay in the mud with his M1903 Springfield, scanning the canopy above. 60 feet of dense jungle. Palm fronds, vines, mahogany branches thick as a man's torso. 200 potential sniper positions within 100 yards. The Japanese rifleman could be anywhere. But Lyons wasn't looking for a man anymore. He was looking for a pattern. The sniper problem had started the moment Marines landed on Guadalcanal on August 7, 1942. 1st Marine Division, 16,000 men, tasked with capturing Henderson Field from 11,000 Japanese defenders. The campaign was supposed to take days. It took 6 months. Not because of Japanese infantry strength. Because of what happened in the jungle between the beach and the airfield. Marines died one at a time. A rifleman advancing through Kenai grass. A radio man setting up communications. A corpsman treating wounded. Single shots from unseen positions. The Japanese sniper corps had turned Guadalcanal's jungle into a killing field. Japanese snipers were different from American marksmen. American snipers took shots from 600 yards, maybe 800 with the right rifle and scope. Long distance. Clean shots. Then displaced to a new position. Japanese snipers worked at 100 yards or less. Sometimes 50. Close enough to see their target's face. Close enough to hear Marines talking. And they never displaced. Marine patrols found Japanese sniper positions days after engagements. Empty positions. The sniper was gone, retreated to new cover. Except when Marines examined these positions more carefully, they found something strange. Ropes. Canvas straps. Leather ties. All secured to tree branches. The Japanese weren't just climbing into trees. They were tying themselves in. Lieutenant Colonel Samuel Griffith, operations officer for 1st Marine Division, had interviewed 47 Marines who'd survived sniper encounters by November 1942. 17 of those Marines reported the same detail. After the initial shot, the jungle went completely silent. No rustling leaves. No breaking branches. No sound of movement. As if the sniper had simply ceased to exist. But men don't cease to exist. They move or they stay. Japanese snipers were staying. Griffith brought this observation to Colonel Merritt Edson, commander of 1st Marine Raider Battalion. Edson had fought Japanese snipers on Tulagi in August. His battalion had lost 31 men to sniper fire in 3 days of fighting. Edson's after-action report noted something specific. Quote, "Enemy snipers demonstrate unusual patience. They will remain in position for extended periods without movement, even when Marine forces pass directly beneath their positions." Extended periods. That phrase caught Griffith's attention. How extended? Hours? Days? And why would a sniper remain in a tree after firing? Every tactical manual said the same thing. Shoot and move. Take your shot. Displace immediately. Never fire from the same position twice. The Japanese were violating basic sniper doctrine, unless they physically couldn't move. Griffith requested intelligence reports from Australian coast watchers who'd observed Japanese sniper training in the Solomon Islands before the Marine invasion. The coast watcher reports described Japanese soldiers climbing into jungle canopy at dawn and remaining there until dusk. 12 hours. 14 hours. Some reports mentioned 16-hour vigils. The Japanese were training endurance as much as marksmanship, but staying in a tree for 16 hours created problems. Fatigue, muscle cramps, loss of consciousness from heat exhaustion. A sniper who passed out would fall 60 feet to his death. The solution was obvious. Tie yourself in. Secure your position so exhaustion or wounds wouldn't send you plummeting through the canopy. The Japanese had turned a safety measure into a tactical liability. They'd created a pattern, and Corporal Thomas Lyons was about to exploit it. Lyons had grown up in Oregon's timber country. His father logged Douglas fir in the Cascade Mountains. Lyons had worked logging camps every summer from age 14 to 18. He knew trees. He knew how men moved in high canopy. He knew what movement looked like and what stillness looked like. Japanese snipers weren't moving. That meant Lyons wasn't looking for motion. He was looking for shape. Human shape in a tree. 60 feet up, camouflaged against jungle background, but still shaped like a man because men have specific proportions that don't exist in nature. Head, shoulders, torso. Roughly 7 heads tall. Shoulders roughly 2 heads wide. Arms extending from shoulder line. These proportions appear in humans everywhere. Even when camouflaged, even when partially obscured, the human form maintains its ratios. Lyons scanned the canopy systematically. Left to right. Top to bottom. Grid search pattern. Not looking for faces or rifles or movement. Looking for proportions. 7:2 ratio. Vertical orientation in a horizontal environment. Symmetry where jungle was asymmetric. There. 45 degrees right. 58 feet up. Nestled in the fork of a mahogany tree. The shape was wrong for a branch cluster. Too regular. Too vertical. Lyons focused on the dark mass. He saw it now. Shoulders. Head slightly forward, sighting down a rifle. Legs secured below, strapped to the main trunk. The Japanese sniper hadn't moved since killing Chun. He was still in firing position. Still watching the jungle floor. Still waiting for another Marine to expose himself. Lyons had one advantage. The sniper was looking down. Lyons was looking up. The sniper expected Marines to search the jungle floor, to take cover behind fallen logs, to watch their flanks for ground-level threats. He didn't expect a Marine to be scanning the canopy with methodical precision. Lyons brought his Springfield to his shoulder. Slow movement. No sudden motion to draw attention. He aligned the iron sights on the dark mass 58 feet above. The range was close. Maybe 70 yards accounting for elevation. An easy shot for a Springfield at that distance. He controlled his breathing. Slow inhale. Slow exhale. Halfway through the exhale, he squeezed the trigger. The Springfield cracked. The dark mass jerked. Lyons heard something fall through branches. Not a body. Something smaller. The Arisaka rifle. It tumbled through palm fronds and crashed into the undergrowth 30 feet from Lyons's position. The sniper's body stayed in the tree. Tied in place. Dead but still secured to the mahogany trunk. Lyons called out to his squad. Sniper down. In the tree. 45 degrees right. Tied in position. He couldn't move. 3 Marines emerged from cover. They approached the mahogany tree, weapons ready. They saw the body secured in the canopy. Corporal James Russell climbed up to examine the position. He called down his observations. The Japanese soldier had tied himself into the tree fork with canvas webbing. 2 straps around his torso. 1 strap securing his legs to the trunk. The straps were military issue, part of the soldier's standard equipment. Russell estimated the sniper had been in position for at least 4 hours based on the water bottle beside him, now half empty. The sniper wore camouflage netting decorated with vegetation. Green and brown face paint. Excellent concealment for a stationary target. But the concealment only worked if the sniper blended with the tree's background. Viewed from below, the human form was still visible to someone who knew what to look for. Russell cut the straps and lowered the body. The Marines examined the sniper's equipment. Arisaka Type 38 rifle with iron sights. No scope. 60 rounds of ammunition. The water bottle. A small bag of rice. This sniper had prepared for an extended vigil. Lyons explained his observation to Russell. The Japanese tied themselves in because they stayed in position for hours. Sometimes an entire day. They couldn't risk falling asleep or passing out from heat. The straps kept them secure. But the straps also kept them immobile. Once they fired, they remained in the exact same position. They became stationary targets if you knew where to look. Russell understood immediately. This changed everything. Japanese snipers weren't ghosts. They were prisoners of their own positions. The Marines just needed to search the canopy instead of the jungle floor. That afternoon, Russell reported the discovery to Lieutenant Colonel Griffith. Griffith interviewed Lyons for 45 minutes. He wanted every detail. How Lyons had identified the position, what proportions he'd searched for, how he'd distinguished human form from jungle background, how long he'd spent scanning before finding the target. Griffith compiled Lyons's observations into a tactical brief. He distributed it to every rifle company in 1st Marine Division within 48 hours. The brief was 3 pages long. It contained specific instructions for counter-sniper operations. Search the canopy, not the ground. Look for human proportions, not movement. Scan systematically in grid patterns. Focus on tree forks and heavy branches capable of supporting a man's weight. Look for vertical orientation in horizontal environment. Remember that Japanese snipers tie themselves in position and cannot move after firing. The brief included diagrams, illustrations of human form at various heights in jungle canopy, examples of camouflage that concealed color but couldn't conceal proportion, grid search patterns that maximized canopy coverage. Marine rifle companies began implementing the new tactics on November 9, 1942. Results were immediate. 1st Battalion, 5th Marines engaged Japanese snipers during a patrol near the Matanikaw River. 3 Marines were killed by sniper fire during the initial contact. But instead of taking cover and waiting, the Marines searched the canopy using Griffith's grid pattern. They identified 4 Japanese sniper positions within 6 minutes. All 4 snipers were tied into positions between 50 and 70 feet high. Marines killed all 4 with rifle fire before the snipers could relocate. 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines reported similar success near Henderson Field. 2 snipers detected and eliminated within 10 minutes of initial contact. Both tied into palm trees. Neither had moved after firing their first shots. The pattern held across multiple engagements. Japanese snipers tied themselves in. They fired from fixed positions. They remained immobile after shooting. Once Marines understood this pattern, the snipers became visible, predictable, vulnerable. Japanese commanders noticed the change. Intelligence reports captured after the Battle of Guadalcanal included references to increased sniper casualties. One report, dated December 1942, noted that American forces had developed new methods of detecting tree-based positions. The report recommended Japanese snipers adopt more mobile tactics. But mobile tactics required abandoning the rope-secured positions. That meant accepting the risk of falling. Japanese sniper doctrine had developed around extended duration vigilance. Hours-long waits in canopy positions. The entire training regimen prepared snipers for motionless endurance. Changing doctrine required retraining thousands of men. The Japanese didn't have time. By January 1943, Marine casualties from sniper fire on Guadalcanal had dropped 72% compared to November 1942. 1st Marine Division lost 16 men to snipers in January. They'd lost 73 men in the 2 weeks before Lyons's discovery. The math was clear. The tactic worked. Griffith's tactical brief spread beyond Guadalcanal. 2nd Marine Division received copies before landing at Tarawa in November 1943. 3rd Marine Division used the canopy search method at Bougainville. 4th Marine Division employed it at Roynamore and Saipan. By mid-1944, every Marine division in the Pacific had integrated anti-sniper canopy search procedures into standard operating doctrine. The Army adopted the tactics after observing Marine success. 32nd Infantry Division implemented canopy searches during New Guinea operations in early 1944. The Army's Field Manual for Jungle Warfare, published in May 1944, included a section on detecting tree-based snipers. The section cited Lyons's discovery without naming him specifically. Japanese forces adapted slowly. Some units abandoned tree positions entirely, moving snipers to ground-level concealment in dense undergrowth. But ground positions offered less visibility and shorter ranges. The effective range of ground-based snipers dropped from 100 yards to 50 yards or less. American forces could suppress ground positions with automatic weapons fire. Tree positions had been harder to suppress because Marines couldn't see them. Other Japanese units modified their tactics. Some snipers carried longer ropes and tied themselves loosely, allowing limited movement. This helped, but loose ropes meant risk of falling. Several Japanese after-action reports from Poliliu in September 1944 mentioned snipers falling to their deaths during combat. Loose ropes solved one problem but created another. The most successful Japanese adaptation came too late to matter strategically. In early 1945, Japanese commanders in the Philippines began training snipers in two-man teams. One sniper tied in position, one spotter on the ground, mobile, ready to provide covering fire if the primary sniper was detected. This tactic increased Japanese sniper survival rates. But by 1945, American forces dominated the Pacific. Air superiority, naval superiority, overwhelming material advantage. Individual tactical improvements couldn't reverse strategic reality. Lyons survived Guadalcanal. He fought at Cape Gloucester in December 1943. He made corporal and then sergeant. He landed at Poliliu in September 1944 with 1st Marine Division. He was killed on September 18, 1944, by Japanese artillery fire near Bloody Nose Ridge. He was 25 years old. His tactical discovery outlived him. The canopy search method remained standard Marine Corps doctrine through the Korean War, the Vietnam War, and into modern counterinsurgency operations. Any environment with dense vegetation and elevated firing positions requires soldiers to search above eye level. The principle Lyons identified in November 1942, that immobile enemies create detectable patterns, applies across decades of warfare. The Marines never officially credited Lyons with the discovery. Griffith's tactical brief mentioned observations from combat veterans, without naming specific individuals. The field manual revisions cited lessons learned from Guadalcanal operations. Lyons received no medal for his insight, no commendation. His contribution was absorbed into institutional knowledge without attribution. His family knew. His father, who'd taught him to see the forest canopy as a three-dimensional environment, understood what Thomas had accomplished. After the war, his father kept a copy of Griffith's tactical brief. He showed it to logging crews in Oregon, explaining how his son had applied timber skills to jungle warfare. The loggers understood. They knew what it meant to search high branches for dangers that didn't advertise their presence. In 2008, the Marine Corps History Division published a comprehensive study of small unit tactics on Guadalcanal. The study included a section on counter-sniper operations. It identified November 7, 1942 as the date when Marines first systematically detected Japanese tree-based snipers using proportion-based canopy searches. The study cited Corporal Thomas Lyons by name as the Marine who developed the observation method. In 2012, 1st Marine Division dedicated a training facility at Camp Pendleton, the Lyons Combat Skills Center. The dedication plaque reads, "In memory of Sergeant Thomas Lyons, whose tactical innovation saved countless Marine lives in the Pacific Theater." Marine Scout sniper instructors at Camp Pendleton still teach Lyons's grid search method. Modern technology provides thermal optics and range finders that detect targets far beyond what Lyons had available in 1942. But the fundamental principle remains unchanged. Search systematically. Look for patterns. Human form has proportions that nature doesn't replicate. Whether you're searching with iron sights or thermal imaging, the geometry is the same. Guadalcanal claimed 7,000 American lives between August 1942 and February 1943. Historians debate whether the island was strategically necessary or whether the campaign represented overcommitment to a symbolic objective. But for the Marines who fought there, strategy was irrelevant. Survival was immediate. Any tactic that reduced casualties mattered absolutely. Lyons's discovery didn't end the sniper threat. Japanese riflemen continued killing Marines throughout the Pacific campaign. But the discovery changed the tactical equation. It transformed snipers from invisible phantoms to detectable threats. It gave Marines a method, a system, a way to fight back against an enemy who'd previously seemed untouchable. One corporal, one morning, one observation about how men shape themselves into environments. That observation rippled through 6 divisions, 27 months of combat, and 70 years of military doctrine. Simple pattern recognition, the kind a timber worker's son learned before he was old enough to enlist, saved thousands of lives. So what did you think about Thomas Lyons's tactical breakthrough? Did this change how you see the Pacific Island campaigns? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, give this video a like. It helps more history enthusiasts discover these tactical innovations from World War II. Every single like tells YouTube to share this story with more people. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another deep dive into the small unit tactics that shaped the war. There are so many more stories like this waiting to be told. Stories about Marines who solved impossible problems with observation and courage. Real tactics, real heroes, real impact. Drop a comment right now and tell us where you're watching from. Are you watching from Camp Pendleton, Oregon, Okinawa? Our community stretches across the entire world. Tell us your location. Tell us if you served in the Pacific or if someone in your family did. Just let us know you're here. Thank you for watching.